Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. Very excited to record today's episode. I am with the lovely Jaci, who's a client and a friend. We've been spending the day together today, and I'm now sat in Jaci's kitchen recording this podcast to share with you today. And I'm going to chat with Jaci all things menopause, midlife, weight, well-being, strength, happiness, quality of life. And we're just going to hear all about Jaci's journey since we very first met, and where she started, where she is now. And she's going to give you a true and honest, accurate representation of her experiences and what I hope that women will gain from this episode, especially if you are in midlife yourself, perhaps not feeling your usual, normal, healthy, happy self, noticing changes in your body, not feeling as much energy, confused by all the misinformation out there when it comes to health and weight loss and menopause. I'm hoping that you're going to hear from Jaci and learn from the mistakes she's made, but also the discoveries and positive way forward that she has learned. So enough from me. I'm going to introduce Jaci. This is Jaci. You can see her if you're watching on screen, but Jaci, she's right next to me here. So Jaci, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself.
First of all, thank you for having me on here, Debra. This is the first podcast I've ever done in my life. So
welcome.
Better late than never. So I am 54. We are broadcasting from my kitchen, which is in a little village called Milton Bryan, very close to Woburn in Bedfordshire. I've been here now for about just over 3 years, and I live here with my partner Stu, also with my two lovely little dogs who are somewhere on the kitchen floor. One of them is a 10-month-old puppy. He's very new. I have a daughter. She's 25. She lives with her partner over in Hertfordshire. They used to live in Hertfordshire. So I am a retired florist, a freelance florist. Used to specialise in the wedding industry, but I haven't given that up about a year ago. Now my life looks very different. I had a very stressful time in my life. Everything happened at once. So this is as we went into lockdown, which was 5 years ago now, I think.
Yeah,
5 years ago.
Something like that.
You couldn't write it really. So as we went into lockdown, I had just got back from buying a trip in Holland, and my then husband, we were having a lot of problems anyway, said to me, "Do you think we can make this work?" And I turned around and said, "No, I don't think so." And we split up. We split up as we went into lockdown. So we had to live in the same house for quite a few months, and that created such a lot of stress. I moved out months later into Tring, a little cottage in Tring. At the same time, my elderly father, he was 92 then, had quite a bad fall, and he had to go in. He had to be cared for. He went into hospital for a few months, and as I moved into my new cottage, I also became a part-time carer for my father. So that was also stressful, and I didn't have 5 minutes to myself. I completely lost myself in that time. The next 4 years meant battling with my ex for my divorce settlement, and that was filled with uncertainty. It was a very, very stressful time. So in that time, I've had 2 house moves. It's everything, isn't it? It's divorce. It's all the stressful things in life happened within that time. But anyway, fast forward on, and I was lucky enough to meet my lovely partner, Stuart. We've been together for nearly 4 years. And so after 6 months of knowing Stuart, he asked me to move in with him into this little cottage. So now, my daughter is settled. Stuart and I both retired. We retired young. And I now have time for me. This is, so I had to address how I felt in myself and my weight. I have struggled with all my adult life. I've been on numerous diets, which I will we'll tap on that in a while. But I didn't. I knew I had weight to lose. I had lost weight in this stressful time, but I knew that it was stress weight. And it went back on. So when Stuart and I got together, we did that lovely thing that couples do,
Yeah.
and that is eat out, cook lovely meals at home, drink too much alcohol. And so we both put weight on, but I think I put on more weight. So I wasn't feeling great,
Yeah. So lots of life changes all happening in succession.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know women when they reach perimenopause, even if you haven't had life changes, and some women, like we're of that era where we've got elderly parents as well, aren't we? And sort of children of our own and families of our own. So lots of life changes, but even without big life changes like what you've been through, there is still the change that we go through as women as we go into a different stage of life, a new stage of life. And it's like losing and or changing yourself kind of all at once. But let's talk about how, like, obviously we don't live in the same area. I didn't know you prior to coaching. Why did you start? I mean, you've answered why you started coaching, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. Why did you start coaching, and what led you to me?
Well, so at this time, I was aware that I had gained weight. I have three three particular pairs of jeans that I used to wear, and one of them was my slimmer jeans, one of them was my normal jeans, and one of my fat jeans. And my fat jeans were becoming tight,
Right.
and I wasn't happy with this. I hated, you going out in the evening and nothing really fits and nothing really looks great, and I didn't feel good about myself. So I was aware that I had to do something about it. But I was so confused because I have done, you name the diet, I've probably done it. I've done shakes, I've done Slimming World, Weight Watchers, so many. And I knew I didn't want to go back to any of them because for various reasons, such as Slimming World, the weekly weigh-in is so humiliating and patronizing as well, to be clapped by strangers for losing half a pound. It's like, let's face it, it's quite, I found it quite a negative place. And also when you're told by your leader that, oh dear, if you're hungry, you can have 3 chickens if you want. How is that teaching you portion control or anything good,
Yeah.
So I knew I couldn't go back to any of the diets I had previously done, and I did not know what to do, because when you start searching for yourself, you're looking at diets for ladies of our age. I didn't just want to lose weight. I wanted to feed my hormones. I wanted to make myself feel better generally. And that, yes, I know that I could lose weight. Of course, you can go on slim fast, you can go on lighter life, you can lose weight, but you can't keep it off. And it's not good. It's not good for your health. So I was standing in the middle of all these diets surrounding me. There was information coming at me. Should I go low fat, no fat, high fat, low carb?
No carb.
No carb, what the heck? So anyway, so I was meeting up, this was in May last year. I was meeting up with 2 dear friends of mine for my friend's afternoon tea. Now, Alison is actually a client of Debra's, and she's also a very good friend of mine. And so we did our usual chit chat about who's lost weight, what diet we're on,
like women do.
Like women do. And Alison said, "Oh, well, I'm with this lady, and so she's coaching me." And Alison uttered the words, "I am investing in my health." And I suddenly just sat up and thought, wow, these are words that I really wanted to hear, and I from that moment, I asked Alison a few more questions. What do you eat for breakfast, Alison? What were you eating? What does this look like? And so she told me, okay, so I'm eating yogurt. I thought, great, I like yogurt, Greek yogurt, and I'm having this, and I don't think, Deborah, you never take anything away. You add.
Oh,
You know,
thank you. That's
and
exactly.
and I
Nothing's
love
off
my food.
limits. Yeah, nothing's off
Yeah, I
limits.
love my food, and I didn't relish the idea of having my food restricted. I'm happy to make changes. So so this was music to my ears, and so I came away from that gathering. I thought hard about it, and I thought, let's contact Deborah and see what happens. You know, at this time I wasn't committed, but after a conversation with Deborah, I knew this was the way to go.
Yeah. It's just to touch on a couple of things that you said, Jaci. So there are so many different diets out there. And at the end of the day, to lose weight, you need to eat in a calorie deficit. How you dress that deficit up, how you achieve that deficit is, there's multiple ways, some of which you've mentioned. The problem with a lot of them is they're not sustainable. And I kind of say, if you can't see yourself doing this for the rest of your life, you're not going to be able to sustain any progress or weight loss that you make. And I think this is what women don't realize, is that you don't have to have, I think you said when me and Jaci were chatting earlier, when we were having lunch, and Jaci was saying about some of the other diets she's done, and you did a diet where they told you what to eat for breakfast, how many times a day to eat, and it didn't fit in with the type of lifestyle that you have.
No, that's true.
And this is like, women wonder why they can't stick to things or why they regain the weight. And it's often not because it's their fault, but because they've been taken so far away from the way they like to live and eat and the foods they like to eat. And, Jaci mentioned yogurt. If someone doesn't like yogurt, then I'm not going to encourage them to eat yogurt. But what I do look at is what ladies like to eat, and then just try and, like Jaci said, add to it. What can we add to it to improve the quality, the nutritional value, the protein content? And this is what clients like Jaci are learning, and Jaci has learned to do, and has a diet that excites her, she's a wonderful cook, and creates foods that she and her partner like to eat, that she gets pleasure and enjoyment from. And that's what's, really, really important. We've talked about, I'm just looking at my notes for this podcast and some of the questions that I had that I wanted to ask Jaci. We've talked about your past diets in the past, but can we touch on a bit more, not just the nutrition side of things, but what's different about coaching? Like, because often people say, well, I failed at every diet. What's different about what you do? You talked about investing in your health. How does coaching with me help you achieve that? What's the bigger picture of coaching?
So I think for a start, it's what you say, you meet clients where they're at.
Yeah.
We all have our preferences of what we want to eat, how we want to eat, how many times a day we want to eat, and problem areas such as, we all have those foods that we love and we overindulge on. I had a problem with chocolate. I could not possibly buy a pack of those lovely 12 bites and not scoff the lot. I couldn't have a family-sized bar of chocolate in my house because by the end of the day, I would have kept picking it and that would be gone. I couldn't possibly eat a little bit of a big bar.
Yeah.
And the same with cake. It would be the same. I would eat the whole lot. So I think that you educate. I think this is it. You educate. You will tell people the reasons. You wouldn't just say, right, Jaci, for breakfast you're going to have 200 grams of yogurt and you're going to have this and you're going to have that. Why am I eating this yogurt? What's so special about you're telling me to try these foods because they satiate, they're tasty, with my yogurt I can do variations. I can add different fruits with the different seasons. I can make it more. I can add breakfast cereal on top as a little garnish, the little topping. You're not telling me that any food is forbidden. It's not too hard and fast. So I'm quite stubborn personality, and the more you tell me something, the more I'm going to push against. But if you suggest this and tell me the reasons why, as you say, educating is important. I was probably the last person that was going to get my backside through into the gym. When I met Debra, I was walking my dogs. I was doing aqua aerobics, not because I like it, but because it was an exercise that I had to do. I had an injury, I had a torn tendon on my knee.
Yeah.
I love tennis. I love my racket sports. I was playing tennis and I was playing pickleball. And I was awaiting surgery for this torn meniscus, and I was feeling a bit fed up with it because I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. Debra suggested that I get in the gym, and I just laughed her off, really, because I thought, I don't want to, thanks. I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. And also, the gym looks like a scary place to me, and I don't really want to go there. I am a member of a nice gym in Milton Keynes, so I was going to the gym anyway, but I just wasn't going in the gym section of it. So, and then one day you said to me, Jaci, just go in the gym. Don't have to do anything. Just walk in the gym.
Yeah, I remember.
And I did. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to try that. And I'm just going to try that. And I did. And I did it, very, very cautiously on the lowest setting. But I did it. And from that moment onwards, I then became a regular gym goer. I love it now. I really enjoy it. But never in a million years did I think anybody would get me in the gym.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think, but again, you educate the reasons why I need to go to the gym, That's the difference. That's the difference between going to a slimming club, being told what to eat and what to think, and being coached is exactly that. You are giving me the reasons why.
Yeah. I think as well is when you go to the slimming clubs or someone starts a diet, it's very weight loss focused. And so the whole focus is on weight, and you're looking and watching those scales, waiting for every movement in the direction you want. When you start to include exercise, which is to benefit your health, it's not about burning calories. It's not about earning calories. It's about exercising for your health and your strength. And very much for Jaci, it was about strengthening her knee joint because she had a knee issue and it was causing her problems. She was having some pain and she wasn't able to do a sport that she absolutely loved. And so when you start focusing on getting strong, what your body can do as opposed to just what your body looks like, it really does switch that focus. And I want to just share with everyone, I copied and pasted out of when new clients start, they explain to me what they're currently doing, so I know how to meet them where they're at. And Jaci was doing 2 times a week, 45 minutes of aqua aerobics, short dog walks most days, and she was going to try a yoga class. And in capital letters, I had written on the form like injury. You were doing the e-gym, and for anyone that doesn't, I mean, even I don't really understand the e-gym, but it is like gym equipment, but it's pre-programmed, correct?
Yes. I think it's like an entry level to the gym.
Yeah. And it's a great entry level. And I remember, and she also put in her form, Jaci, upper body is stronger than lower body. Now, I just did a workout with Jaci today. Now, she is very strong in her upper body, but would you agree that your lower body is starting to match that upper body strength now?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Your lower body's, Can we talk more about your injury? Because I think this is where, like I talk about different measures of progress. Progress isn't just about weight loss. We know that's the goal. We know that's the direction we want to head, but we don't want to miss the wins and the progress along the way. They're like the stepping stones. Talk about seeing your surgeon and your knee injury and ops and things.
So I was in a lot of pain with my knee. I've never really had any problems too much with any health problems. Anyway, I've never had surgery in my life either. I had started noticing pain in my left knee. It would lock and cause horrific pain. It was very, very hard to walk even. And as I was playing tennis is very jarring and pivoting.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where actually, no, I can't play tennis. This is hurting me too much. So I had to give it up. So I actually paid privately for a scan, and they said, okay, you've torn your meniscus, and we're going to have to book you in for surgery. Anyway, so in the meantime, they gave me a quote for the surgery. And when I got the quote, I thought, I don't really want to pay that. I'm going to wait for the NHS. I'm going to wait and see if I can get referred by the NHS, which is what I did. And so in the meantime, as I say, Deborah's got me into the gym. She's given me knee strengthening exercises which I was really quite worried about, because I thought, I don't understand. How is this not going to tear my knee even further? I'm a bit scared of this. But I trusted her. I put my trust in her. And bit by bit, I noticed that actually my knee's not hurting quite as much.
I'm very proud. Very
I'm not
proud,
sure how this is
Jaci.
working, but it doesn't hurt as much. Anyway, so months later, I then had to go back to, I did get accepted by NHS. I had to go back into the same clinic, but on the NHS. And I saw a different consultant, and she x-rayed my knee. And she said, well, I don't know what you've been doing, because I said to her I'd also lost weight. And she said, I don't know what you've been doing. Carry on doing the same thing, because you've pretty much fixed yourself. And you don't need surgery anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you're in perimenopause, menopausal, maybe just of a certain age, and you've noticed your joints are aching, you're stiff in the morning, your back aches, what you actually need to do is move it and strengthen it in the right way at the right dose, obviously not too much too soon. But the more you stimulate the muscles, the stronger they will get. And the stronger they get, the more they support the joint. And I think, obviously that's what's happened with you. And it may not be that your meniscus is probably likely torn still, but because you've got so much more muscle strength and joint strength, it's enabled you to support it. And not, surgery is like a last resort, isn't it? And, you don't need it. And the best news of all is you're back playing tennis.
I'm back. Yes, I'm back playing tennis socially, and also in the local leagues as well. So that's quite competitive tennis.
Yeah, she plays against the men too.
Yeah, so that's good.
Really good. And you know what? That playing tennis is something you enjoy doing. Am I right in saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but because you are doing something you enjoy, your happiness and quality of life, whereas missing it from not doing it, now you can do it.
Definitely. Yes, because I get it's so good for your, I hate this mental health business, but it's so good for your mental health to be doing something that you love.
Absolutely.
In my local tennis club, we play outside, which, when the weather's lovely, when it is, it's just such a beautiful thing to do, and it's social. You meet so many people from all different walks of life. And they're having that competitive element, it really gets you fired up.
I just love seeing it. And if you follow me on social media, you will see I did a post all about Jaci, a reel, and you can see her playing tennis, and from backhand to forehand, and that takes like the lateral movement, which is quite a lot for the knee, and you're doing that really well. The other thing I want to talk about is you put in that you're doing short walks when we first started. Now, since I've known you in coaching, you've been on a client hike, and that was pretty undulating. And undulating is my sort of secret word for hilly. You did the Regent's Park 5K, which is a run event, but Jaci joined two other ladies who were walking. And there were ladies that were running. And when the runners had finished the 5K, I said, let's walk back towards the walkers because they might be a while. We turned around and you were already coming through the finish because you walked at a really great pace as well.
That's because the two ladies that I walk with have long legs.
Yeah.
I had to keep up with them.
But you couldn't have done that before.
No, I couldn't.
Because that's not a short walk.
No, it's a short
pretty
walk.
Decent walk.
Yeah. And I don't think twice about walking now. So I went out with my daughter yesterday because she's got a new dog, and we walked through Ashridge, and I just,
lovely.
We were walking and talking, and then it wasn't until I got home I thought, I've done my 10K steps, without thinking about it.
Yeah.
There was no pain or breathlessness.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And that is another measure of progress. Noticing that you're able to do more without getting out of breath, walking further, walking faster. These are really great measures of progress. And if you think like, oh, walking's not running, it's like a poor relation, it really isn't. Walking is so beneficial. And it's amazing to be able to get out and walk. And you mentioned, Jaci, you hit your 10,000 steps. If I remember rightly, when we started coaching, you were nowhere near 10,000 steps a day. You've built them up steadily over time. And now that is like your new normal.
Well, I've noticed in the past actually, I've noticed since we've got the little puppy, my step count's been a lot higher.
Yeah.
So this is great.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
It is all really great. Right. Let's talk about habits, because I think this is a really big one, because I find as well, and I'm going to let you obviously do most of the talking, but just to give a bit of context here, when clients start with me and they want to like go into the dieting phase, and I'm like, no, we're not going to diet just yet. I want to learn about you. I want to see what you eat, when you eat, what you like to eat, what your life looks like, work, how that impacts your time. And we're going to build some habits. Talk to us about what habits you've created, how they help you, and how you feel habits have been fundamental in setting you up to make all this progress you've made.
So I think, yes, it is repetitive. It's repetition. So the first meal of the day is breakfast, and once I had decided what it was I wanted to have for breakfast, my partner's brilliant because he'll eat what I eat. There's no cooking separate meals for him. He'll, one size fits all in this house.
Yeah, he's in the next room, so we're just saying nice things about him.
Yeah. So I have yogurt, and I sometimes put a little bit of protein powder in, or I might put some porridge oats in, or sometimes I'm doing a bit of a chia seed, pumpkin seed mix.
Nice.
And I put loads of fruit. I use frozen fruit sometimes, or fresh fruit, but I realised we're having the same every day. So actually, to save time, I found some lovely little pots which you may see on Debra's.
I did post them, didn't I?
Yeah,
on
you
the
did.
Reel.
Brilliant, from Amazon. So I make up 8 of those at a time for so that's 4 days for myself and Stuart. And so in the morning, I just top up with some extra fruit, and they're brilliant, and it takes away that decision making. Well, what am I going to have for breakfast? They are pre-weighed. So I know exactly the calorie content. I know the protein content. I know the fiber content. Because sometimes especially Monday morning, you haven't got time to mess about, especially if you're working, or you've got young children. Lunch, it soon followed. It was like I have 1 or 2 variations of lunch. It depends where I am. If I'm at the gym, I might have something to eat there, and I have my certain meals that I eat. If I'm at home, we have other meals, so. And then another habit, I keep building on my habits. I keep getting different ideas. So my latest habit is to go to Costco and bulk buy meat. I get home, I portion it all up, I put it in freezer bags, and so every day I get out my meat or fish for dinner the next night. Again, it's portioned. I know how much weight it is, and I base my meals around that: salmon, chicken, minced beef, whatever it is I've got. That saves time. It's also habit based. And then exercise, it really is about putting it in your diary. So for instance, we have 2 dogs, and so going out for that morning walk is non-negotiable. This is what we do. And so we come back Monday morning, we go to the gym. We may play tennis and gym. Sometimes it's gym and spa. But we are there every Monday. Tuesday there is a tennis group in the morning that we like to try and play. These things are in the diary. So I have a weekly planner, And I do quite like a pen and paper sometimes
Yeah.
because it's there in front of you, isn't it? And I write Monday, this, Tuesday, this. And it's repeated every week.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
One of the words you've used, which is just well, you've used a lot of words, Jaci, but some of the key words you've said is repetition. And I find when I speak to women, they might inquire about coaching, they might reach out and ask questions, is everyone's waiting for this magic answer, this like, I've got the solution that you've been waiting for to help you lose weight. And I don't, I know the method, I have my coaching method that will help you achieve your goals. But ultimately, it's putting in the reps. You've got to keep repeating the same things and not expecting to get results in a week and then give up. Like, you've got to keep repeating. The other key word you said is like decision making. Like, we all lead busy lives, and most diets fail because every day is like, oh, what am I going to eat? Oh, I don't have it in the house. Oh, what am I going to have? And it's exhausting making these constant decisions. And so by you being really super organized, pre-weighing your, splitting the big packages of meat into measured portions, you know what you're going to do with it. I've seen your creations in our closed client Facebook group. You shared your salmon, like that was a tray bait. That was easy. Your sausage tray bait, that was amazing. And these are really easy recipes, and making multiple portions as well means you've got it for the following day or more, or even freeze some. And it just takes that decision making away.
Absolutely.
But again, as well, the other key thing you said is about planning. And I've recorded a podcast all about the importance of planning. But when you start planning, whether it's with pen and paper, like you like to see it, whether it's in your iPhone diary, calendar, however it is that you like to do it, it's personal to you. But creating that routine, and then you kind of do it even when you don't want to do it, because that's your routine.
Exactly. Yeah. The other morning, I was dog tired. I was so tired, but it was almost like my body just got up and went on autopilot and took itself for a walk without my brain being engaged almost. And then it was like, come back from the walk, jump in the car, off we go. And then I got to the end of the day and I'd done something like 12,000 steps and felt great.
Yeah, amazing.
Because if it had been left to my, if I had been left to my own devices and I had given myself a choice of whether I was going to go or not, it would have been not.
Yeah. And this is like one of the other things in coaching is you have the support to create these habits that are relevant to you. Everyone's habits and what they need to work on, whether it's sleep, whether it's, in fact, I was going to ask you about this. One of the habits could be adding more veg. Talk to us about, because I need Jaci to share her how she's increased her veg intake. Talk about what you do now.
So I follow a few different people on Instagram, and this particular lady is a nutritionist, and so I was watching her one morning, and she had a vegetable chopper. I have seen a few around, but I kind of thought, oh, that'd be quite useful for chopping up an onion. No, she had a reel about, I've just come into my kitchen, I'm starving, I need lunch within 5 minutes, and she's just got this chopper. She had onions, she had peppers, she had all the different salad vegetables, and it's like a very, very sharp grid, and you pull the lever down and it just chops all the vegetables into a plastic container. And it's not only brilliant for vegetables, but it's great for fruit as well. So I quite often use that to just chop up my fruit as well.
Is it electric?
No, it's just literally manual.
Just sharp.
Yeah,
but you're doing exercise at the same time.
But if you buy one, be careful of the blades. I speak from experience. They're bloody sharp.
Yeah, but again, it makes because I see Jaci's food, and she's inspired the whole coaching my whole coaching community to get a chopper. But at the end of the day, you want your food to be appetizing, to look nice, to give you a bit of excitement.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be bland. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be a carrot stick and a cracker with a bit of it can be delicious, filling and high volume meals, and you're creating those now.
Yeah, and you want to make life easy for yourself.
And you want to make life easy. Absolutely.
I don't want to stand that. If I, so like you could use that to chop up vegetables for soup, because that often, making vegetable soup, I'm put off by the amount of chopping that you've got to do, but you could knock one up in like minutes with that thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I love a kitchen gadget. I love anything that's going to make life easy because I don't want to be in the kitchen
Slaving.
Slaving in the kitchen. It's
Yeah.
just dinner, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I've got people around, that's a
Yeah.
different ball game. But you've just got to knock out dinner every single night for the rest of your life, haven't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
So make it easy.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, before I go on to social life and being able to enjoy an active social life and or what comes with that, Jaci wrote me a message, and like, Jack, can you see it on the screen here? This is what you text me about self-talk and how it's changed. And like, I want Jaci to, if that's okay with you, Jaci, to go through this, because I read this in the text message that Jaci sent me, and I was absolutely blown away by what you said, because it's not just about me bigging up Jaci, although I am her biggest champion, as I am all my clients. I'm all my clients' biggest champion. But some of the things that Jaci's achieved are life-changing, like literally life-changing, especially if you are a yo-yo dieter like Jaci was. And like, I've also been a yo-yo dieter. I also stood and got applauded or felt shame at the weekly weigh in at Weight Watchers many years ago, I hasten to add now. But a lot of these things are life-changing. And this is, again, the difference between investing in your health and doing another diet. Can you go through some of the things you've written? And if you need me to scroll down, just ask me to scroll down. But it's just incredible.
So I used to label myself, I after years of failed dieting, I then thought there was something wrong with me. Why am I back here again, having lost weight and gained it again? Am I weak? Am I stupid? Am I, what? All these negative labels. They were all negative labels. It makes you feel bad about yourself when you can't, or when you achieve what you want and then you don't keep hold of it. You can't sustain it. I labelled myself. I read somewhere on, I think it was Instagram, you would not say these words to a friend of yours. Why would you say them to yourself? But I did. But now I don't. I've removed those labels. You don't have to stick them on. They don't stay forever. These words are not branded onto your skin. You can, and I think we do. We almost label ourselves from childhood as well. Sometimes it's like, no, you're not weak. Or maybe you were weak, but now you're not. Now I'm strong, actually.
Yeah.
So I've stuck new labels on myself, and they're all positive, because no, I'm not weak. And also, I have turned that around, and like, actually, I can now inspire other people.
You are.
I have, yeah, thank you. I've inspired, like my daughter. I can give her advice, and it comes from a good place. It comes from my teaching. Food as well. As you said, it's autonomous. It's not naughty, is
Yeah.
it? Chocolate is not naughty. It's less healthy, but I eat chocolate every darn day. I do. I have my. It's a very sad life if you can't have a bit of what you fancy.
I agree.
But it has to be a bit. You can't just eat lots of what you fancy, otherwise you're not going to get to your goals. But I've stopped doing that. I've stopped labeling that this salad is healthy, that's naughty, this is whatever. It's just food, isn't it? It's just
food.
3 meals a day.
Yeah, it's
And
just
food.
food.
We're going to eat these 3 meals a day for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Let's get over it.
It doesn't help though that when you go to the diet, typically the dieting clubs, sins, points, free food. Like, food isn't, everything has a value, whether it's low, whether it's high. And what they do is they dress up the method, they dress up the facts, and they relabel it. And then that relabeling, you may not be aware of it, may be subconscious. And it's only when your attention's drawn to it that you think, hang on a minute, like, it's chocolate. It doesn't have a behavior. Yes, over consuming on it is not going to make me feel great, and it's not going to help me lose weight. But it doesn't have to be, you put down here that you're no longer all or nothing. And this is what a lot of, I say women because I'm a women's health coach, pretty sure it happens to men too, is that it's this all or nothing mentality. Because you've been bad, so you may as well be really bad.
Exactly that.
Make it worth it, sort of thing.
Exactly.
But that doesn't happen now. Tell everyone what you do now. When you have your... Jaci has M&S chocolate, and I know this because she sent me a picture of it, of which I will be sharing. But tell me how you now manage to eat, without that all or nothing mentality around delicious foods like chocolate, because...
I think carefully I choose my indulgences. So if it doesn't taste great, I don't want it. I become very, very picky about if I go to eat out. I always used to have a pudding. I considered myself to have had a sweet tooth. I don't so much now. How many times have we ordered the pudding and it doesn't actually taste that great, but you just carry on eating it anyway because you paid for it, because it's there, because I don't know why we do it. And then I thought, you know what, I can make this much, much better at home. I'm not paying for this food anymore. I became very disappointed by so many restaurants that we went to, because I knew that I don't consider myself to be an amazing cook, but I know that I can put together a decent meal, a decent pudding in particular. So I started to pick and choose. Yes, I love chocolate, and I do have this particular chocolate. It's from M&S. It's a dark milk, so it's got a little bit more cocoa in it than just a plain dairy milk, which I also love. I am more likely to overeat on dairy milk. It will always be there. I just keep it under control. It's asking for trouble if I have something like dairy milk, because it's not a very high cocoa percent. It doesn't really satisfy.
It's easily palatable. It's very highly palatable.
So I choose my chocolate, and I love this chocolate. And I have 2 squares every single evening after dinner, and that just. I don't crave anymore.
Yeah, but do you know what the difference is, though? Is because now you can have chocolate every day. Yes, you're managing it as 2 squares, but also one of the big things, and just to touch on this now, is, I don't want people to think that you're perfect, Jaci. Like, none of us are perfect. None of us are. I'm certainly not perfect. We're all human, and we all have emotions, pressures, and things, life curveballs. And it doesn't mean that Jaci will never eat more than 2 squares ever again. I'm sure, that situation may happen one day. It's not, just we're all human. And sometimes you're just enjoying it. And it's not about doing things perfectly. It's about doing the best you can and trying to be as consistent as you can.
Yes, I think that's right.
I think that makes the big difference. What happens when you try to, I'm never eating chocolate again, is that when you invariably crave in, because that happens, because that's normal, it's that mindset of, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be eating this, so I'm going to eat the whole bar, never buy it again, and then I won't have it in the house to eat again until you invariably do. And now you've turned that around, because being imperfectly consistent, maybe sometimes you'll have 3 squares, 4 squares, whatever, but most of the time you're having 2 squares, and therefore you're always moving in a forward trajectory towards your goal.
Exactly.
So,
and I've got 6 bars of that said chocolate in my cupboard.
Amazing.
And they're fine there.
Yeah, amazing.
They're safe,
amazing. And you know what? When I've had other clients that have sent me, and I recently shared not that long ago on my stories, a picture of a client a client sent me of a bag of Doritos. There was 3 things on the table, and from memory, it was a bag of Doritos with a food clip on the bag, like half a bag gone. A bag of, I think it was Maltesers, family pack, and another chocolate or bar or something indulgent. And she sent me a picture to show me that these 3 things had been in her house for weeks.
Yeah.
And previously should have eaten the whole lot.
Yeah.
Felt awful, full of guilt, never bought it again until she did. And now they're sitting in her house. She forgot about them.
Yeah.
And
that's the beauty of it.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's life-changing. And I never forget, because a lot of what you've been through and other clients have been through, like I've been through that too. And I remember the first time I folded down the packet of, because I do love a dairy milk, and I folded the pack down and put it in the cupboard. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite empowering, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I had the thing with the almond croissants. So one of the things I love is almond croissants. And I found the best one I've ever had in a very local coffee shop, which is quite dangerous. But I went with a friend, And the first time I had this croissant, I did eat the whole lot. But I also worked it into my day's calories,
Yeah.
So, and then I did realise actually I was being a bit of a piglet. That was quite big. So I then told my partner about it, and we went down to the coffee shop and we had half each,
Yeah.
and that
Amazing.
was because I only had half. I savoured it.
Yeah.
I didn't just stuff it down. I savoured every mouthful, and I ate it really mindfully.
Yeah.
I am now going to the same coffee shop again tomorrow with the friend that I went originally, and I will have half a croissant.
Yeah.
We will either share one or I'd have the other half home.
Yeah. It's a great way. What you've demonstrated is a great way to eat the foods you enjoy, but half the calories. And it's an indulgence you're picking. You have high standards now, Jaci.
Yeah.
Certain things you bite into it. Oh God, that's disappointing. You now know I'm not going to eat it for the sake of it, because I'm not. You're not a bin. You're not going to just put it inside you because you don't want to leave it. And now your standards have gone high, and that almond croissant is whatever those calories are for half. I don't know off the top of my head. It's worth every damn calorie, and you can make it work in your day.
Yeah.
You can make it work. You've shown that. The other things that Jaci wrote in that text is that she's put, like, on a positive, you are now strong, you are now balanced. I think these are amazing things because, and again, I remember with myself, all I wanted was to find that place of moderation and balance. It's like the gold at the end of a rainbow, the treasure at the end of a rainbow. And it is so liberating. And I know I hear from many women, and you might be listening thinking, I want to find moderation. Like, it is possible. And labeling yourself as you used to do, Jaci, and I hear this a lot. Someone will say, I am an emotional eater. And I say, you are, whatever your name is, you are not an emotional eater. You have emotional eating tendencies. We can change that.
Yeah.
And it shifts your approach and your mindset away from being what you are. It's not who you are, and it is changeable.
Yeah, I think as women, particularly women, I think we're hard on ourselves.
We are.
We're really hard on ourselves, and you're not stuck with, because you're not stuck with that label either. You can, you're not at school anymore. You're your own person, and you get to rewrite your story. You don't have to be whatever you've labeled yourself with. You can change that label and you can make it into a positive one.
Absolutely. And I think people think that they are stuck, or that it's too late, or they're too old, or it's menopause, or it's this, or it's that, or whatever it might be. But actually, it isn't too late. It's never too late to change. No, it's never too late to change. You can always change, and it doesn't need to be big changes. It's the small things.
Yes, that's key. I never want to feel like I'm on a diet again.
Yeah.
I never want to be on a diet. And that's also why coaching works. It's because it's so subtle. It's tweaks here and there. It wasn't like one day I'm not on a diet, the next day I'm on a diet. It was like because at one time I thought, are we going to get going? Are you going to give me? Come on, Deborah, we're getting going with this. Because you would just say, right, for breakfast, well, how about you have this quantity of the yogurt and maybe add some fruit. Right. So now I've got that, and it was like, right. And then the gym, and that was subtle. You didn't, I didn't go in the gym and get given a
huge
load of thing to do at high weight. It was all very subtle, so subtle that one day you look back and think, how the hell did that happen? How did she get me in the gym? How did she...
You've met Emma from the coaching community.
Yes.
When Emma came on the podcast, the way she put it is, she went, you drip, 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 fed me. And I went, but absolutely, because drastic change makes everyone panic, and you almost want to put your defenses up.
Exactly.
And so this way, it's embracing it. And I know that feeling, because I always feel that when new clients start is, when am I dieting? When am I going to do this? And it's like, we are building the foundation. We are building structure. And that way you can make successful gains towards your goal and maintainable. Now, I want to come on to alcohol, social life. You live in a lovely village. You have a lovely social life. Just talk to us. Has there been any change to your social life, or anything that you've kicked back at me for suggesting when it comes to social life? Because I want all my clients to have a social life and enjoy going out, but also, stay mindful of your goal, because you don't want your hard work to be set back. But you've mentioned already about how fussy and high standards with your indulgences.
Yeah.
Talk about alcohol and things like that.
So I think when I met Stuart, and so we have a lovely pub that's probably about a 3-minute walk from us. And they used to do a happy hour on a Friday evening, which meant you had bought one gin, you got a free one. And so I used to drink a lot of gin, and then somebody would go and get another round, and then you'd have 2 more gins on the table. And
Yeah.
I lost count, but I felt awful the next day. Just it's what you were saying earlier. You don't feel necessarily hungover, you just feel awful.
Yeah.
And I suppose we have drunk a fair bit. Sometimes you do in a relationship, don't you? You have a glass of wine with dinner, you take that bottle into the sitting room. I call time on my drinking because I was realising that I'm putting all this hard work into my nutrition and my exercise. But somehow I didn't feel like I was losing the scale weight that I wanted. I felt like something was blocking it. So, and then I realised that there was one night in particular, a couple of weeks ago, I had about 2 or 3 glasses of wine. I really got the taste for it, and I felt like it was controlling me. So I journaled, I journaled how I felt about it, what I could do instead. So I found a really nice alcohol-free gin. It's a lovely orange gin from Tanqueray. Low tonic, the Fever Tree tonic, which is lovely. A nice glass, a little orange garnish, and you make yourself a lovely drink, and it looks just like a gin and tonic, and it tastes like one.
Yeah.
And it was so nice that even my partner, who likes to drink, he was drinking more of my gin than I was. So we've actually bought it in bulk now because this is what we're drinking.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's moved on to the alcohol-free Guinness as well, which is really fantastic. And there's some fantastic alternatives there.
Yeah, there are.
And then we went out. I suppose the test was going out to the pub with some local friends. Ones that on a Friday evening where you get the happy hour gin. They had gin and we had the alcohol-free gin, and I sat there drinking my lovely gin, and it didn't make any difference to me whatsoever what was in my glass, whether that had alcohol in it or not.
Yeah.
And it was also, the alcohol was impacting my sleep badly. It's a stimulant. It wasn't making me feel good. And then you wake up the next morning feeling tired.
Yeah.
And that's not the best way to start your day when you want to be positive and do your exercise and your planning. So I'm not saying, I've given myself permission. If you want to drink, if I go out to the pub, I might have a glass of wine with dinner, but none of this mindless drinking, you know.
You're spot on. So I was going to sort of, as you were speaking about going for the non-alcoholic drinks, I said in my head, I'm going to just say when you finish speaking, it's not that everyone has to give up drinking, but it is about questioning why you drink, what it brings you, the quantity that you're drinking. And I have like a saying for myself, and that is nothing good happens after 2 drinks. That's like my saying. And I know that with myself. And as I've gotten older and I'm in menopause, alcohol exasperates menopause symptoms. And one of them you mentioned was sleep. And when you have poor sleep, and then you're dehydrated as well because of the alcohol, you're probably not drunk as much water because you're drinking alcohol, your sleep's impacted, your mood's impacted, your hunger's increased the following day because poor sleep can do that. It's like it's everything against what it is that you want to move closer towards. Exactly. And so you have to question it. It's not about not drinking. I've got one client who really enjoys a glass of wine with her husband on a Friday and a Saturday night. She was also she used to drink, prior to coaching, they would drink a bottle. Now they enjoy a glass. And what she actually realised was it's the ceremony of coming to the end of the day, joining with her partner, who they would be off doing different things, coming together at the end of the day, sitting down, catching up, talking.
Yes.
Yes, enjoying the drink, but actually she recognised that one glass of wine was all that was needed
Yes.
to have the same benefit and not the bottle. And I think it's
Yeah.
questioning that the
Yeah.
circumstances.
And you really do enjoy it. If you know you're gonna have one glass of whatever it is you like, you make it, you savor
You
it.
savour it.
Because I have to say, the second glass of wine, it's kind of gone down. Like, I haven't really tasted it. No, I haven't.
Yeah,
To be
I
honest.
can so relate to
Yeah.
that. And it's a bit like if you think about a pizza, that first bite of that first slice of pizza, if you're a pizza lover, this is, it's the best. And then you eat the slice, the pleasure is off the scale. You go for a second slice, pleasure decreases.
Exactly.
And then with every slice, it gets less and less and less. So you have to think to yourself, is it better that I stop here with greater level of pleasure and have it with a salad than eat the whole pizza and feel awful by the end of it because the pleasure and the enjoyment has reduced? And that can apply to chocolate, alcohol, whatever your indulgence is.
Exactly.
Okay, where are we, Jackie? I think we've talked about a lot. Have I missed anything else? I think the main thing that I wanted to bring Jackie on to talk about, and I'm conscious of time because we're at 55 minutes, is what I really hope that Jackie and myself have got across to you in this podcast is that both of us feel the same, and that is that we want to get across to other women, perimenopause, menopause, midlife. Maybe you've just hit a certain stage of your life. You're not feeling quite your usual self. You think back to how you used to be and you're giving yourself a hard time because you're not where you once were. And the big message is about not feeling stuck. And Jackie, you touched on this before, and that it's possible to make change. Is there any message you want to finish up with? Because I want to finish. I want to stop talking. It needs to be you talking.
I think that do your research. Think about your past diets, why they haven't worked for you. Think about where you want to be. Think about how you are now. When I joined Debra, I had my tummy was massive. I suddenly one day looked and thought, oh my God, my tummy is so huge. It felt bloated. I didn't know how to get this down. I tried, there was a menopause supplement that was being touted on all the social medias, and I bought it. It was not cheap. I think it was about £30 a pot a month or something. Of course, it didn't make any difference. It's you've got to get to the nitty gritty. You've got to make changes and life changes. And it's, as Deborah said, it's not just for a month or two and you've lost weight. I stopped that on a diet, off a diet business, that all or nothing approach. You've just got to make changes that you can sustain every single day. Do your walks and your nutrition, sort it out. But after having done a lifetime of dieting, I don't know how much money I have handed over to the diet industry. Hundreds, thousands, I don't know. This is the best money I've ever spent on myself. As my friend Alison said, I have invested in myself. I am investing in myself, and I will continue to invest in myself because I'm in control here. I choose the foods I want to eat. Deborah doesn't tell me what to eat. I make the choices, and I don't want to eat diet food. I never want to eat another Muller Light yogurt in my life. That's what was really popular on Slimming World. I don't want to eat. There's certain foods, diet foods, I will not eat. I want to create meals every day that my partner and I can eat. Even when family come to visit us, they eat the same. So I did. Stuart's son loves the burger. Oh, he loves the burger. And I made my own burgers, and they were lovely. They were better than the pub ones. They were less calories, and they loved them.
Yeah.
I made chips. I made my own chips in the air fryer.
Air fryer.
You can make changes. You just need to get a little bit organised. Let Deborah help you. There is nobody better. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting next to me.
I am sitting next to
But it is money well spent. Invest in your health because we're getting older. I want to be able to pick up my grandchildren if I have any. I want to be able to play tennis. You know, I mean, I know people in the tennis club that are in their 80s that are still playing,
Amazing.
90s even, actually. I want to be that person. And now I think I can be.
I'm going to leave it there, Jaci. I think you've said it all and you've said it really well. And I'm just so grateful that you've come on today. And,
Thank you.
and I've loved spending the day with you.
It's been lovely.
When are we doing it again?
Exactly.
Thank you for listening, and I
Thank
catch
you.
up with you on the next one.